Paper is the medium which allows the mathematics of origami to become real works of art.
紙對我嚟講咧，就好似玩具咁樣樣，玩之不盡。
Paper is motion.
What do these toys, insects and models have in common? Well, they're all made from paper. These creations might be created from paper, but that doesn't make them any more disposable or less durable. And the fact that Keisuke Saka, Brian Chan and Paul Chan are adults doesn't stop them from toying with paper.
I like how origami is both it's an intellectual challenge, but it's also an artistic challenge. So there's a lot of room for creativity.
The Japanese have always been at the forefront of innovation, so it is no surprise that Nippon Land is the leading trend of fashioning toys from paper.
This is my most recent works. Peekaboo, peekaboo. We call peekaboo in Japanese inai bar. So I call this inai bear. Beauty of paper automata is very simple mechanism like this moves to realistic movement.
While Keisuke creates motion from paper, Brian breathes life into his paper creatures.
So this is the centipede, and it's probably my most complex model that I've ever designed. And I decided to fold it because I've actually never seen this species of centipede before until I came to Boston.
An origami enthusiast since elementary school, Brian is particularly drawn to origami's inherent challenge and geometrical orientation. Folded essentially out of a square piece of paper, Brian's creations are in direct contrast to Paul's paper models. A props maker and paper sculptor by profession, Paul's paper creations range from thumb-size works to life-size works. Commissioned by private companies, Paul's paper creations have been photographed and featured in numerous print advertisements.
呢個大廈咁樣啦，而家就整緊一個咁樣嘅浮雕嘅作品啦。咁咧呢大廈咧就係好似咁樣樣，呢啲一座大廈要整出嚟，咁整咗3座啫，未整晒。
Like Paul, Keisuke from his quirky studio in Yoyogi, Japan, also makes models and toys, but Keisuke specializes in paper automata. Paper automata has been around since the 19th century. Automata are self-operating machines or mechanisms that do a trick when turned.
I started papercraft as a hobby. When I was 30, I had a chance to spend 3 years in Denmark. And then I discovered modern automata in Europe. They were very new and exciting for me, and I was instantly attracted to it.
Capturing the attention and imagination of both children and adults alike, Keisuke's paper creations are anything but ordinary paper creations. Also known as trick mechanisms, Keisuke uses a few moving parts to create elegant and often darkly humorous movements.
I want the people who see and assemble my works feel happy and smile and feel relaxed and sometimes surprised. I hope my work brings the people together. For example, parents and children, or teacher and pupils.
While Keisuke's works arouse a childlike wonder in us, Brian's works bring us closer to nature. How do you stay surrounded by creepy crawlies and not break out in a sweat? The answer is simple. When these creatures are just paper. But looking at them, you will be forgiven for thinking they are the real thing.
Another insect model that I designed that I like is the Goliath beetle. So these are, in nature, these are the largest beetle that you'll ever find. And the challenge for this one was to design it so that the color changes come from folding and not from painting. So this was a black and white sheet of paper that I designed a folding sequence to create all the stripes, and it turned out pretty well.
Armed with a degree in mechanical engineering, Brian is currently pursuing his postgraduate course in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
I study mechanical engineering, specifically fluid dynamics. We have an origami club here at MIT. It's a club for just teaching models to kids and talking about origami theory.
Worlds away from Brian's campus life, Paul's paper creations are fashioned in an industrial area in the suburbs.
我之前個 workshop 喺觀塘，而家搬咗嚟油塘，因為地方大啲同埋近啲自己屋企。
As a full-time paper artist and props maker, Paul gets commission from advertising agencies and enterprising companies. His works range from lifelike paper ice cream cones
呢個先係真嘅雪糕啊！
咁呢個你食啦。
to paper models of athletes commissioned for the Olympics. So, exactly why is paper Paul's choice material for his works?
紙其實係一樣幾方便嘅物料咧，就係若果你佢方便容易修改咯。就若果係有啲咩整錯咗嘅話，就喺個 printer 度再印出嚟又再整過啦。咁同埋佢有好處咧，就係話，譬如你設計好個紙樣啦，咁樣你放喺網上高，你俾人下載嘅時候咧，喺唔同世界各地唔同地方咧，都可以整翻你一樣式一樣樣嘅一個立體作品出嚟咯。
One of the most exciting and vibrant cities in the world, Tokyo is also home to some of the most creative people. Belonging squarely in that category is Keisuke Saka, who has been crafting paper creations for well over a decade.
In Japan, we have a legend that catfish causes earthquake.
Keisuke started his career as a graphic designer and became a paper engineer by chance. Going from digital design to paper handicraft, Keisuke rediscovered the joy of creating something with his hands.
I like both sharp and clear design by computer and manual works by hand. Recently, the most work of graphic designers are getting to be full digital. I feel something is missing from it. I use computers to draw plans, but to complete the models, I make a lot of models by hand.
After a brief period of experimentation and working in Denmark, Keisuke returned to Japan in 2000, where he set up Paper Engineers Workshop with his partner Hiro Konda. Nestled in Yoyogi, the Paper Engineer Workshop exudes a quiet charm and quirkiness unlike any other.
I am not a strongly intuitional person, so I need a lot of reference materials to get the ideas. For example, stories, pictorial books. Many fragments of these images come together in my head, and there suddenly appears a new idea.
Constantly in search of new ideas, Keisuke travels and reads extensively. A self-confessed workaholic, Keisuke is always dreaming up new paper automata designs and thinking of ways to perfect his various paper automata projects. And it was on a trip to the supermarket that the idea behind maternal dilemma struck him.
This work is titled Maternal Dilemma. The mother has 3 kids and they're all hungry. But the mother has just 1 worm. She is wondering which kids to feed first. Here, I have already prepared chopping board and stand. Now, I will show you how to make fish. We have old saying in Japan, "Manaurita no ue no koi." That means a carp on the chopping board. And now I cut the half part of fish. To make automata, we need not only inspiration, but also knowledge of mechanism and a logical way of thinking. My paper automata is 100% paper, even mechanism part.
In an attempt to encourage people to assemble the models by themselves, Keisuke does not sell finished paper models. He sells self-assembly kits, which include simple instructions and 4 sheets of printed paper.
Okay, knife is finished. Now it's nearly finished. Just put together some parts. This is one of my favorite models called the Last Resistance.
While Keisuke's paper automata are delightful in motion, Paul's paper models surprise viewers with its exquisite craftsmanship and 3-dimensional quality.
好似呢個西遊頭咁樣咧，就係之前其實係一個面具嚟嘅。咁樣咧就我攞咗紙樣之後咧，就發覺用紙再整咗之後咧，都可以係一個紙模型咯。
Paul's first contact with paper art came when he created a paper model for his graduation thesis in 2000.
嗰陣時啲老師咧就見我嗰啲作品咧，通常偏向都係立體嘅作品多，咁樣咧就建議我讀道具啦。
In the process of working on the project, Paul was struck by how paper could be utilized in ways he had never before imagined.
嗰啲道具製作技術咧，其實咧好多時咧都可以應用翻喺紙模型上高嘅，譬如啲立體嘅剪裁啊，又或者係整啲面具啊、公仔頭啊咁樣樣嘅出紙樣咁樣樣咧，就如果你用紙整翻咧，其實都係一啲好靚嘅紙雕嘅作品咯。
Upon graduation, Paul started conducting papercraft workshops and taking on commercial commissions for his paper creations.
而家咧我就幫一間公司咧設計緊一啲奧運系列嘅紙模型。咁樣而家咧我而家整緊呢個咧就係一個游泳嘅選手。咁樣咧佢就會企喺個跳台咁樣就準備起跳嘅。小咪啊，過嚟幫手啊，唔該。小咪咧係我助手幫我整啲紙模型嘅。咁樣咧佢台灣嚟嘅，就係佢整開木偶嘅。大家夾租呢個地方就一齊一個工作室做嘢咯。咁樣你幫我 cut 住呢張先啦。係啦，呢個台呢個係啊。
With different projects running concurrently, Paul is kept really busy all year round. One of his current tasks is to create a set of 20 paper model athletes.
手腳咧，我覺得最難做嘅，因為咧你要顧及身體嘅形態啦，又要呢個令到佢控制個平衡，等佢企喺度嗰陣時唔會冧咯。
Besides patience and dedication at his craft, Paul is constantly challenging himself. To achieve the curved surfaces of the figurines with paper, he dissects the form of the figurine and recreates the forms using paper, which has been scored and folded.
個夾仔喺呢邊咁樣夾，咁後邊嗰啲脷咧都可以撳實落嗰個泳帽後邊噶啦。好啦，咁個人就戴咗泳帽啦，跟住咧我就可以封後邊呢個窿啦。你肯定佢後邊黐實咗先。好。
Paul's creations attract a great deal of attention wherever it is shown, and for good reason too. It is not every day that you can find an artist who is able to combine commercialism with artistic integrity. So, where does Paul frequent to scour for ideas and inspiration?
平時咧，我中意行好似深水埗或者10蚊店嘅地方咧，就因為嗰度有好多唔同嘅物料啊，或者好多唔同嘅產品，你可以睇下佢點樣整啊，又或者去摸下、感受下唔同嘅物料，有時會俾到好多靈感你咯。
Much like the other paper maestros we have met, Paul keeps an open and inquisitive mind. Renowned for its cultural facilities and world-class educational institutions, Boston is the homing ground for intellectuals and artists. In this vibrant and thriving city, Brian has found fellow origami enthusiasts and succeeded in standing out with his unique take on origami.
When I look at paper, I oftentimes try to just imagine what it could become. And I look at the texture or the color, and sometimes it does, it wants to be a grasshopper or a spider, or maybe a lizard or something.
Transformation takes on a whole new dimension in Brian's case. His complex origami designs and original creations clearly indicates he is a force to reckon with in the world of origami.
Now I'm going to demonstrate folding my grasshopper, which I designed a few years ago. I guess I've always liked grasshoppers because I used to catch them when I was little. So when I started designing, this is one of my first designs. I'm just putting in all the main creases. This is so that the end product will be more precise. This one has a more symmetrical pattern. So when I design an origami model, first I just look at the subject, and I think of what's the major point of the object, or what is the defining characteristic, and how would I express that in paper. So then I look at the paper and figure out what part of the paper would be best suited for what part of the model. So now I'm just folding along the creases that I made, and I'm making further more creases that are in between the main creases that I made. So just collapsing it into the base.
An avid fan of origami, Brian began folding as a hobby in elementary school. However, it wasn't until 2004 that he took a serious interest in it.
When I was about 7 years old, my parents just gave me those origami books. They kind of start from simple to difficult. So every new design in the book is an animal, and it gets harder and harder. So I felt like it was a challenge to learn the next model after I finished one. And I folded all of them within the course of a year. My parents would just keep them all, and I think they still have a lot of them right now. So now I'm done folding the base, just kind of a structure that has all the appendages or the flaps that I need to create the final model. So there's 4 long flaps and 4 short flaps, and 2 of the long flaps become antennae, and the remaining flaps all become legs. If I use good paper like I am using now, and if I starch all the right places, then the creations will last indefinitely.
Since 2005, Brian has been attending the Origami USA convention held every summer in New York. There he learned new folds from legendary origami masters. He has also conducted classes at the convention.
When I'm folding, I think I enjoy most the part when it's almost finished and I know that it's on the good track. And I like putting in the final touches in anticipation of the finished work of art. So I'm almost finished. Now I am just shaping the model so that it looks more realistic. I might still spend about a full hour or even more just to shape it so that it looks right.
Origami is not just a technical exercise. It is more about sculpting and artistry.
And now it's finished.
Whether for pleasure or work, paper has become an important part of our artists' lives. Beyond cranes and stars, Brian has raised the bar for contemporary origami when he successfully made the Neko bus. While Keisuke, Paul and Brian continue churning out what they do best, they also take every opportunity to expose themselves to new ideas and possibilities.
I'm often inspired just by nature when I go out for a walk or go hiking or camping. I see a lot of scenery, and oftentimes I go to museums too, and I look at all the masterpieces there, and it kind of inspires me to be a better artist.
For inspiration, I have no rules at all. I concentrate on new ideas. For example, in front of the desk, or in the cafe, or in bed. They never comes. They always comes at unexpected moments and places. I wish I knew how to get inspiration anytime when I want it.
Paper art is being created all over the world by visionaries who have the ability to see something special in a plain piece of paper. In fact, it is this very quality that attracted them to paper in the first place.
这个也是阿坡做的作品哦。我觉得阿坡的作品呢，它的线条很简洁有力，有点男生的感觉。
紙就係好得意嘅。
Origami is an art that's very much like music, because even though I can fold a certain model many, many times, I think the actual spirit of the origami lies in the crease pattern and the design of the origami.
Paper automata is endless fun.